What is going on, everybody? Jackson from the Bulls Ball Street here with Grant and Wells, ready to break down this exciting UFC Apex card we have this weekend, headlined by Rude Boy Randy Brown. Should be a super fun one. I think this main event should be a lot of fun. We got both Bonfim brothers on the card, Gabriel Bonfim in the main event here against Randy Brown, and then Ishmael, one of the main event or main card fights as well. So yeah, we're gonna break this down from the first fight on the card. Let's get into it. And this first fight got canceled just recently, unfortunately.
I think these two guys look like they could have gotten canceled for other reasons too, especially those symbols on my boy's chest. But
yeah, facts. Definitely some white supremacy vibes coming from this slide. But yeah,
we would have been a real scrap though. I'm bummed we're missing it.
Facts, dude. It would have been a scrap. It would have been an exciting one, but I think it was McVeigh who pulled out. Oh, and I had the names on the wrong sides anyway, so good thing this got canceled. So yeah, let's move on.
All right, Miles Johns versus Daniel Marcos. What should we be expecting here?
Yeah, this should be a really fun fight. Daniel Marcos, more of like a striker, I would say, than Miles Johns. Miles Johns' background is in wrestling, but he's one of those guys who has a few knockouts under his belt now. It prefers the striking just because it's the easier thing to do. Knockouts are more fun. But he is a good wrestler. He definitely has that, averages about 1.3 takedowns a fight. Very explosive. Like I said, he has a legit wrestling background, so wrestled at a high level before MMA, but kind of strikes a little bit more than you would like to see based on that background. Cardio, not the best, but he stays dangerous for at least like the first half of the fight. And he was coming off a very close loss to Jean Matsumoto, who I think is pretty good, where he was actually wrestling in that one. Cardio seemed to dissipate a bit as the fight went on, and then he started just like throwing punches from his hip, sort of sloppily. Close fight, though. Daniel Marcos, like I said, good striker. Fights really well on his front foot. He applies a bunch of pressure, throws in combos, really sharp elbows and knees, and he'll use that in like spinning attacks, flying knees, stuff like that. Takedown defense also really good at 84%. So that'll definitely test the 26% takedown accuracy of Miles Johns if this one does go to or if he starts wrestling and isn't just like super comfortable in the striking against Daniel Marcos, which I don't think he'll be insanely comfortable. Marcos is a good striker, but both of these guys can definitely wrestle. Marcos, I think, is clearly the better striker of the two. He has better cardio. I trust Daniel Marcos for a full 15 rounds, and he has great takedown defense. So I think this is probably going to be Miles Johns' third decision loss in a row, unfortunately.
Yeah, I like Daniel Marcos in this one. Feels like there was more hype behind his name, or he was getting some better matchmaking in the past. Still a skilled fighter. I think his striking is far better, like you touched on, and that 84% takedown defense will kind of make up for his ability to potentially lose on the ground. That's probably going to be Miles Johns' best bet in this one. I honestly think Marcos probably cruises through this one pretty easily. And at that number, it feels like a nice little parlay piece for the rest of the card or something. Also the first fight, so you can just get that one out of the way potentially. It seems like probably what I'll be doing with this one.
Yeah,
I'll be on Marcos by decision. I think Johns has enough skill to really get there as well.
Yeah. Right. I think Johns could even like win a round with the wrestling or something too, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Ticia Pennington versus Denise Gomez. What should we be expecting here? I want to say, did Denise underwhelm last time she came out? I can't remember.
Denise is coming off a knockout actually over Elise Reed, I believe.
Oh, so I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
Exciting.
But yeah, should be a good fight. I think Ticia Pennington, wife of Rocky Pennington, former prediction strike fighter, former belt holder. Ticia did not hold a belt though. Well, I guess Rocky was an interim belt holder, but Ticia, pretty good striker, pretty high volume, 4.78 landed to 3.48 absorbed. Just decent boxing, does a good job of applying pressure throughout the fight. She's also well-rounded, good, decent wrestling to back up the striking, and even better grappling than the wrestling. Cardio, some of the best in the division probably, especially for her age. She's coming off a win over Luana Pinheiro, where she just stayed tough, stayed aggressive. She's not a quitter at all. She basically got dropped by Luana in the first round in that one, and then just fought her way back to a win. And Gomes, she's a striker, definitely like a pay-to-play sort of striker. She's totally okay with getting hit, and usually that's okay because she's super tough, has a pretty good chin. And I mean, there's not always a ton of power going against her, but she was able to get that knockout win over Elise Reed most recently. She was just throwing haymakers, basically landed one, put Elise to sleep. She has good grappling too, not really a ton in the way of wrestling. Takedown defense just okay, but she is dangerous on the ground for sure. I think I'm going to go with Tisha Pennington here. She just has super high fight IQ, a ton of high-level experience in the UFC, very well-rounded, very durable. I think skill-wise, she's going to be a little bit better both grappling and striking than Denise is. So I'm going to go with her, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll probably be tailing you. I think Tisha's a very good minute winner, at least has been. Doesn't fight a ton, so it's kind of hard to do some projections and think about where she'll be at this current moment. But was always high volume, moves around the ring well, definitely manages spots, and I think can be a good minute winner. Denise has been a minute winner in different ways where I feel like she's just more powerful than her opponent in most cases and can land some of those strikes that tend to sway rounds. But I think if she doesn't have like a moment that wins a fight, whether it's a big knockdown or a finish or anything, it's going to be hard to just kind of outlast the volume of Tisha Pennington. So I'm going to be rocking with you on that side.
Yeah. I'll be on Denise by a decision here. Just expecting a boring fight and age to win. So here we go. All right. Josh Hokett versus Max Gimenez, bringing the drawback to the gi here.
Yeah, Josh Hokett coming off Dana White's Contender Series, a pretty dominant win there. Seems like an absolute heel, though. Like, he was doing his – I don't know if you guys saw his post-fight, but it was like – just he was going MAGA crazy in that rant. But he seems like kind of a cornball, but that's okay because he got a great win. It's his official UFC debut. Solid prospect, I would say. He was in the NFL for a period of time on a couple different teams, I think. Collegiate football player as well, obviously. But he is kind of what you would expect to, a high-level NFL guy to look like in the UFC. He's very athletic for his size. He's very powerful, fast, pretty much looks to get on top of you on the ground in one way or another. Doesn't have a ton of technique to get it there, but he is very strong. And then he'll just, start opening up with ground and pound as soon as he gets you in a favorable position on the ground. But he has he has a pretty good sprawl for not having any wrestling background. Good control on the ground as well. And then he's going up against this guy who is making his UFC debut in Max Jimenez, who is, a highly accredited grappler, national champion as a brown belt, or international champion as a brown belt, also medaled internationally as a black belt. And he
looks like a fake guy too.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sick. Just a giant jiu-jitsu specialist, and he's not just like a jiu-jitsu nerd either, as you would kind of hope from a guy that looks like this. He has a bunch of power behind his hands too. Definitely not like nothing really technical about the striking at all, but if you get caught by a punch from him, you're probably going to be in a bit of trouble. but just like the main point when I say that is he's not just going to like sit and guard or anything as like a lot of these BJJ guys do. I last time I checked the odds, I don't know if they changed it all. Max was a giant underdog, and I think Hokit
Still
probably.
is, yeah.
Okay, sweet. So I think Hokit probably gets it done at the end of the day, but I think I'm going to be placing a wager on like a Max submission or something just for fun because I don't get it. It's like Hokit is an NFL player. Yes, he looked great on Dana White's Contender Series. He's very athletic, but he has 6 pro fights going up against and a very, very highly accredited jiu-jitsu practitioner. So like, I don't know. I think it's a fun spot to go for some juice here.
Yeah, I mean, clearly this dude probably has some sort of like college wrestling or elite high school wrestling background if he's shooting 15 takedowns. Like, yeah. I'm sure that's probably where his background comes from and why he made the switch to UFC. Also was probably a dog shit NFL player. But I think there has to be some sort of background there for it. I mean, it seems like with that fight, post-fight interview that everyone saw that went pretty viral, it seems like a good opportunity for someone in the heavyweight division with a little bit of juice and some like fans kind of getting up behind him. I don't know if it's the right kind of fans, but it'll be some people that'll be cheering him on and rooting for him and a potentially exciting character to have around. So it feels like a situation where they wouldn't put him against a guy that he was not capable of beating. So I have to trust his ability on the mat to not just get destroyed by an elite jiu-jitsu practitioner. And I'm going to rock with Hokit. Probably not take anything in this fight, but I'm excited to watch this one. Just seems like a spot where they probably want to get this potentially exciting guy a win to start off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be Max Jimenez by sub. I just think if you're going to launch that many takedowns, I hope it's like jiu-jitsu experience that you're having, not so much wrestling, because you'll end up in a lot of locks.
Dude, imagine he heel hooks Hokit and then he gets Walter Walker in a heel hook showdown.
That's kind of, I don't know. That just seems how it's going to set up here. I agree with you. It's a very sketchy situation. The line's off. I would put this closer to 2-1, if anything.
Yeah, just so many unknowns.
Yeah. All right, Mayra Bondasilva versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. What should we expect to hear?
Yeah, we got another fun ladies fight here. 2, I would say, solid fighters, and it should be an interesting fight. Mayra, I would say, is her path to victory here is going to be in the grappling, if she can get it there, which is going to be her main concern equally because she doesn't really have the wrestling to back up that grappling, but she is a pretty good striker, too, well-rounded. She'll work the body and the legs with kicks as well when she's striking, not just boxing. And then on the ground, very, very dangerous, very slippery if she's on the bottom. She'll look for submissions. And she is on a 3-fight losing streak right now. Most recently, she lost to Jasmine Jasudavicius, where she just got caught underneath Jazzy's relentless pressure and was just trying to throw up submissions from the bottom that ultimately didn't work. And then Cavalcanti, definitely more of a striker, like Muay Thai base, I believe. She manages range well, really good footwork, works the body super well, and also has head kicks in her arsenal. Very technical striking, I would say, more so than MBS, and she has a great striking differential with 5.7 landed to 3.32 absorbed significant strikes per minute. And yeah, she can get, if she's getting pressured on the feet, she can look a little bit out of sorts, but she's 100% a rhythm fighter. Like once she gets in the flow state, she's throwing in combos, she's mixing in kicks, managing range well, like very hard to defend. And yeah, I think Mayra has a definite shot at winning this if she can get it to the ground. I don't really feel confident that she's going to A, do that, and B, keep her on the ground for long enough. I don't think she puts enough emphasis on like top control to do that because she'll give up position a lot of the time to look for the submission. And Cavalcanti has great takedown defense at 84% anyways. So I am going to go with Jacqueline, just a decision striking win.
Yeah, I'll probably just tend to to tail you there. I feel like these are two names that we've seen pop up in higher quality fights throughout their careers. I think that Cavalcanti, people have kind of just figured it out. There was a while where you could kind of get ahead of the curve and people hadn't really figured out the talent that was there, but she's a pretty elite striker and can manage just the ring and the octagon well. I think that MBS probably has the grappling advantage here, but just doesn't throw enough volume in the grappling department with that 0.57 takedown average. So I expect it to not be a crazy factor in this one. And I'm going to rock with the young star.
Let's go.
I guess I'll mute the demon here. I'm going to go with Mayra Buena Silva by decision. I just don't think Cavalcanti's fought anyone real. So,
yeah, that's fair. I also don't think Cavalcanti really has like a ability to get a finish in this fight. So you kind of have to rely on being on the top of your game for 3 full rounds.
Yeah, that's facts. I don't think she's going to finish MBS.
All right. Adrian Yanez versus Christian Quinones. What should we be expecting here?
Yeah, we got a low-key banger, I think, with this fight here. I'm excited for this one. Not insanely passionate. Like, I think it's a great fight. When I say I'm not passionate about either side, it's like I truly think either of these guys could win this fight. Yanya, it's kind of a clash of styles in the sense that, like, Quinones loves a dog fight. Yanez has the ability to keep things tight and technical and sort of outpoint you that way. But Yanez is also very powerful, really good chin, obviously can knock people out. He has a bunch of fight of the night bonuses, a bunch of stoppages, very good takedown defense as well at 81%. I'd say mostly a technical boxer. You can see he doesn't really average any takedowns at all. Coming off the Daniel Marcos loss, which was really, really close. He got hit really hard early, got dropped essentially, and then just sort of stayed composed, kept coming at Daniel Marcos and making things happen, which I give him props for doing. And he's going up against Christian Quinones, who is definitely not as technical, but he is just a relentless fighter. He'll come forward at you the entire fight. And he'll basically just, try to get into a brawl with you on the feet. Once his opponent accepts that, he'll try to transition into the grappling. He's very fast, very explosive, very dangerous on the ground. Also pretty decent output. He kind of gets hit a lot, though, trying to make things happen in the clinch. He has a negative striking differential. And he is coming off a loss to Raoni Barcelos, where he was winning the whole fight, got a little bit too crazy, and then got subbed in the third round. It is a really tough one for me. I think I'm going to go with Yanez. It's going to be tough because Quinones is just going to be absolutely making things messy the entire time. Yanez is going to want to be keeping things technical, but he's definitely the better striker. He has really solid takedown defense, and the takedowns on the Quinones side are more just like power and explosiveness than anything technical, like anything straight, really. It's more like sweeps and drags and stuff like that. It's not like singles or doubles. And I'm just going to trust Yanez to keep it on the feet in this one.
Yeah, Quinones can totally be like a kill or be killed, all gas in the first round, kind of go for it type of fighter too, which makes me want to stay off this one because while Yanez is more skilled in that realm, you just never know what can happen. You can fall into something and fights can end pretty quickly just with that type of fighter. A lot of volatility on the Quinones side of things here. I think if it goes past the first round, Yanez will pretty much cruise to this one. I think the talent shines through. But it's all about whether you can get past that first kind of onset and flurry. So gonna be a pass for me. I think if I did just take a pick, I would take Yanez, but I don't think I'll have anything on this fight.
Yanez by knockout for me. That's typically how these fights go. They typically go to the finish. All right.
Let's go.
On to the next one. Hyder Emil versus Jamal Emmers. What should we expect in here?
Another really good fight, I would say here. High quality guys up against each other. Jamal Emmers, very well-rounded guy. good striker, good wrestler. Takedown accuracy, not amazing at 40%, but really good takedown defense at 80%. And he doesn't have the most amazing UFC record. He is 4-5 in the UFC, but there are definitely some weird circumstances in there as far as like close fights and questionable decisions go. And that's something that is sort of coming to light here in the UFC. So who knows? But he's coming off a knockout win over Gabriel Miranda, where he won obviously by knockout, which you love to see, but he was taken down by, tiny little skinny Gabriel Miranda and had his back taken for a decent bit of that fight, which was, I think, just not a very good thing to see from someone who you expect to be pretty confident in like the wrestling grappling department. And then Haider Emil, he is mostly a striker, very, very powerful. Traditionally has been known for his chin. He just ate that knee to the face, though, and got knocked out by, what's his name, Jose Delgado, who, looked really good on this last card this weekend. So props to him. Who knows? Hopefully, like, Haider's chin isn't just gone, and that was just, like, a one-off thing. But he was looking okay, I guess, right before he got slept by Jose Delgado's knee. Haider has super high striking volume at 6.84 strikes landed per minute to 4 absorbed, which kind of worries me for Emmers. And I feel like maybe the volume could just overwhelm him. And Jamal's takedowns just aren't very good as well. So I think he is the far better striker. It's like I feel like I'm going for a lot of strikers on this card over wrestlers, grapplers, but it just feels kind of right in this one. I still trust Haider's chin, and I don't think Jamal necessarily has an insane amount of power to test that chin, and I do think Haider's the better striker. He has great takedown defense to shaky takedown accuracy. So I don't think my idea of this fight is Jamal just kind of submits to the striking game, and Haider doesn't even really need to worry about the wrestling.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite play of the card. I think Jamal has looked good in the past when he can be the one kind of applying the pressure and being the hammer in the fight. But when he is being pressured, it kind of takes away that ability for him. And I think while Emil isn't like necessarily the greatest fighter, he's just super tenacious and can grind out a fight at a pretty insane pace. Cardio is not an issue for him at all. I think he can keep the gas on for 3 straight rounds and kind of just pressure Jamal into a fight or a game plan that's not really what he was going into the fight anticipating. So I think Emil probably keeps Jamal on the back foot and is able to stabilize this one and cruise to a decision victory probably.
Yeah. I'm going to be on Haider by decision here. Seems good competition. All right, on to the next one. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Marco Tulio. What should we expect in here?
Yeah, this should be another really fun fight. I think 2 very exciting, flashy guys. It should be fireworks. Tulio, well-rounded dude, nasty grappler, very good striker. We obviously just saw him absolutely destroy Tresean Gore at UFC 314, but well-rounded guy. He can ground and pound on the ground. He can also submit you. Does a good job on the feet of managing distance. He works kicks into his game very actively. And he's going up against CLD here, who is another super exciting fighter, 10 finishes in his 12 wins. And he's super powerful, very well-rounded as well. I'd say the wrestling is more of like an afterthought. He'll only employ that really if he's having trouble on the feet or he's in trouble on the feet. But he does have wrestling. He's very explosive if he needs to use it. He's mostly a striker there, I will say. He's got a high fight IQ, a bunch of flashy shots on the feet, deep bag of tricks. Solid ground and pound if he gets on top of you on the ground. Very, very dangerous, obviously, as you can see by his resume, and he's off the back of a Eric Anders finish. And, Yeah, I think this is likely to look like one of those fights where CLD comes out looking like CLD, hot, flashy, throwing spinning attacks, all that. And then, as soon as Tulio starts piecing him up a little bit, I think he's probably going to turn into a wrestler. And if that happens, after the first round, it's probably going to be desperation takedowns coming from CLD, which never is a good look. So I think Tulio is just better everywhere, really. Um, and CLD can obviously, I think, maybe work in a takedown better than Marco can, but he's only going to do that after the fight's already lost on the feet. So I'm going Tulio.
Yeah, me too. I think seeing CLD lose basically a kickboxing match to Armin Petrosian, not a great sign, and he's also lost grappling matches in the past. I just think that he's kind of met his match and found his limit in the UFC. Still like a fun, exciting fighter, and he'll continue to get fights, but I think this level is probably just a little bit out of his depth. I think Tulio is just a more put together, skilled striker. I like him to get the job done in this one.
Yeah. And a banger, I'm going to go with CLD by knockout. Seems that's where this is headed. So, all right. Ricky Simone versus Raoni Barcelos. What should be expected here?
Yeah, another I think this is a really good card. Honestly, looking back at these fights, this is banger after banger. But this is another good one. Two very very good wrestlers going against each other in this one. Raoni, a 5-time Brazilian national wrestling champion. Ricky Simone, obviously known for just his nonstop chain wrestling and his cardio. So this should be an interesting one for sure. Ricky Simone, basically a super one-dimensional guy. He is very, very powerful, but doesn't have anything very technical in his hands. His game plan is almost 100% of the time just to wrestle you, and if that doesn't work, get back up and take you down again until he wins the fight. And he has a Marab-esque gas tank to where he can just do that for an entire 15 minutes. And, we've seen that power in his hands. We saw it in the first round knockout win over Javid Basharat. And then Raoni, definitely past his prime at this point in his career. He's pretty old, but he obviously can still get wins. He's still, nonstop cardio is all there, it seems. Also a wrestler, like I said, 5-time Brazilian wrestling champion, averages over 2 takedowns a fight. Also a solid striker, sets a very nice volume and pace on the feet for his age, lands 4.87 strikes per minute. Also very, very good takedown defense at 85%. He is coming off a win over Cody Garbrandt. This is a tough one for me. I think I'm going to go with Ricky just because I think Ricky is going to be more relentless with the wrestling, and I think Raoni is genuinely going to have to defend those for the entire 15 minutes of the fight. And I mean, from what I've seen from these guys, it should just be a wrestling-oriented fight. So he's, I think, slightly more explosive, maybe stronger too at this point in their careers. But I mean, it's another reasonable dog to take, I think, in Raoni Barcelos. I'm just slightly more on the Ricky side.
I think I'm going to take the Barcelos side of things here. Just kind of feels like a decent spot to take an underdog. Haven't taken one of those yet, and I think this fight should be pretty close. I think Barcelos is well-rounded enough, decent BJJ, good wrestling. Ricky Simone has good ground game, but more from a grappling perspective. I think that the takedown defense is pretty important here for Barcelos at 85%. I think if he can manage the distance in that realm and then kind of take his chance of striking and use the time standing up well in this one, that he has a decent shot in this one to fight towards a decision win.
Yeah, I'm going to be on Simone by decision here. It'll be a fun fight.
Yeah.
All right, Chris Padilla versus Ismael Bonfim, the first one of the Bonfim brothers. What should we expect in here?
Yeah, this is a fun one. We got War Taco Chris Padilla going up against Ishmael, who is the like more wild child of the two brothers, kind of a highlight reel fighter. Very, very powerful striker, throws everything your way, and does so with power behind like every single shot he throws. Has spinning attacks, flying attacks, like just a highlight reel guy. Good, solid takedown defense too at 76%. Averages about one offensive takedown a fight as well. Also very high level jiu-jitsu. He is a black belt. And he is coming off a finish loss to Nazim Sadikov, the Black Wolf. And that was that question mark kick that unfortunately left Ishmael on the other side of a highlight reel. And he kind of just quit after that. It wasn't the same. It wasn't like an RDR quit where he was just like tired and I quit. He legit got his face bashed in by one of the nastiest question mark kicks. And then his coaches were like, no, he's not going to fight anymore. But going up against Chris Padilla, who I think is another pretty live dog in this one. He's very well-rounded. I ultimately wants to get you to the ground, grapple with you, work in takedowns, but he is comfortable striking, has a pretty good output too. Very, very tough, very good cardio, very fast and explosive as well. And he's coming off a decision win over Jai Herbert, where he was just having trouble at times kind of finding his way into the clinch, like letting Jai piece him up at range a little bit if he, slowed down on the feet at all. But Ishmael, I didn't like that he just quit the fight, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt with like that just being a nasty shot from Sadikov. I think he can win this. He should be just a little bit better everywhere. He's a better grappler. He's a better striker, just technically speaking, and he's obviously dangerous in both areas. So should get the win. I think probably a finish. I think it could go either sub or knockout.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to get a read on Bonfim and trust him. He's underwhelmed in 3 of his 4 fights in the UFC. Obviously, he had an electric debut, and then since then has kind of just not looked great. Did get a win in one of them, but it was a pretty lazy decision win over Vink Pichel, which is just not the type of caliber of fighter you want to be seeing. I do think Padilla is probably a tad closer to the level of fighter that he's beaten so far. I think the talent probably shines through and he gets back in the win column here. But just kind of a volatile guy. It's hard to get a true read on Bonfim. So I don't know if I'll end up actually having anything in this fight, but I would feel decent about Bonfim if I was just picking a winner straight without the odds.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the Bonfim by decision side here. All right. Muslim Solikov versus Uros Medic. I feel like this is technically a banger on paper.
Yeah, I think it's a banger too. Muslim Salikov, obviously super old now, but that doesn't seem to be slowing him down. He is coming off back-to-back knockout wins, most recently as a huge underdog against Carlos Leal. So yeah, he still seems to be the kung fu master. Doesn't seem like age is really slowing him down a ton, at least in like the power department, but he has wrestling as well. Like I said, he has like a kung fu sort of base. It's like, I forget what it's called. It's like the Russian version of kung fu basically, but it's kung fu techniques. Hits super hard, really good takedown defense over a large sample size of fights. Going against the doctor, Uros Medic, who is a very, very dangerous striker, also super technical and very clean on the feet. All of his wins come by way of finish. Just an absolute killer. Does a great job of pouncing when there's an opportunity. Like he'll be more composed, and then if he sees he's gotten to you a bit, he'll just jump in and absolutely start throwing like crazy. Not the most amazing takedown defense. I don't know how much at this point in his career Muslim is going to be threatening the takedowns, but it might be a factor if like Uros puts Muslim in trouble early. And And also, I think there's a bit of an asterisk on like the bad takedown defense for Uros because he was taken down so many times by Minikbek Oralby in that fight. But he is coming off the knockout win over Gilbert Urbina, where he got dropped by Urbina and then just absolutely slept him. But I'm going to go with Uros Medic here. I'm just a bit concerned by, like, I thought Gilbert Urbina looked a bit too scary in that last fight, who I really don't rate too highly. And it's like if Uros had gotten hit in the same way that Gilbert Urbina was hitting him by Muslim, he would 100% just get put to sleep. But I do trust him. He's more technical, I'd say, by a good bit on the feet, and his speed should frustrate Muslim.
Yeah, easily on Euros here. I think you can trust the pace a little bit more and the cardio to get through rounds and kind of just be able to manage the gas tank and be able to go for it a touch more in this one. Equally skilled strikers. I mean, in his prime, I guess Salikov was probably a bit more technical, but in a different skill set. Euros, very skilled striker. I think enough to where you can trust him to get a victory in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the Medic side as well by decision here. So on to the next.
Oh, Medic decision. Yeah, Muslim is pretty tough, I suppose.
All right, Matt Schnell versus Joseph Morales. What should we expect here?
Yeah, we got Schnell the Snail and Joseph Morales. Schnell is a pretty well-rounded dude, I would say. Mostly a striker, but also very good BJJ. He just doesn't have the wrestling to back up that BJJ or to really threaten with it unless he's taken down himself. He averages a half takedown per 15 minutes. Yeah, doesn't shoot very often. He's comfortable like on the ground and stuff. Obviously, though, decent scrambles, pretty slippery off his back. Takedown defense is also pretty questionable at 43%. But he is a very tough dude. Shin can definitely be a bit shaky at times, but he is very tough. He's certainly not a quitter or anything like that, and he is coming off a much-needed win over Jimmy Flick, the first win of his in a 3-year period. And I'd say note from that fight, despite the win, was that the takedown defense was looking pretty Schnell in that one. He got taken down a couple times by Jimmy Flick. And Joseph Morales, really good wrestler, nasty grappler, very clean takedown, straight down the middle. Very, very patient fighter, I would say. Good control on top. He won't give up positions just to hunt a sub when he does have you on your back. Striking needs a lot of work, but it's definitely improving. He's very tough. He can get hit and, not falter really. He does have decent striking defense, but he's just so low volume that it's hard for him to sort of win the exchanges on the feet. He only lands 2 strikes a minute. While absorbing only 2. But he is coming off his UFC debut. That was a triangle choke win.
For the second time, right?
Yeah. And then, yeah, I think Morales should win. As long as he's going to be the one on the front foot wrestling. I do expect this one to go on the ground at some point. And as long as he can just avoid like desperation sub, I think from Snell on the ground, he should make it out fine and potentially get a sub of his own.
I'm going to take a stab at a Morales KO in this one. I think you'll be able to get some good value on that side of things because his volume is not crazy in that realm. But Schnell might have the worst chin in all of the UFC. A pretty fragile guy in that world. I think he's been KO'd 5 or 6 times in his UFC career. Not getting any younger either. It just feels like a situation where it's kind of turned to dust, and now he's probably scrambling to keep a fight not standing, or he's probably just a little bit weary of that fact now that he knows that that's probably a reality for him going forward. But I think he doesn't need to be a minute winner, Morales. Like he just needs to land one powerful strike, and that can entirely just flip the fight on its head and potentially lead to a ground and pound finish or something like that. So I'm gonna rock with Morales by KO. Hopefully, we get a little juice on that.
Yeah, I'm going to be on Morales by decision here. I like the read overall. I think there's a difference in levels. All right. Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown. What should we be expecting here?
Yeah, we got the second Bonfim brother in this one. I'd say the more calm, collected of the two. Also, the younger brother by a year. Gabe is 28. His brother is 29. And he's a good striker, very good boxing. Also, very high level jiu-jitsu, just like his brother. Well-rounded. Just a very good overall fighter. Great in the grappling. Very composed striker. If he despite being more composed, also just a ton of finishes on his resume. If he can't find that finish on the feet, he's going to transition into the wrestling, and you'll see he does that pretty prolifically. He averages 4 takedowns a fight, while still being super dangerous on the feet. Great control on the ground. Will pretty much just be transitioning between positions the entire time, looking for a submission. Coming off a very close win over Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson. And Rude Boy is a very, very good striker, insane reach. You'll see that he is going to have a 6-inch reach advantage in this one. And he does a great job of using that range to control the striking landscape. Very nice jabs, good kicks. Very fast as well. Will leap into the pocket if he feels like he has the upper hand in an exchange. A bunch of takedowns in the UFC as well. Not a ton of wrestling, but it's there. He has jiu-jitsu as well in his back pocket if he needs to go there. Just a very good striker, I would say. And he is coming off a knockout win over Nick Dalby, where he just absolutely took over in the second round of that one. And this is definitely a super close fight. I am going to go with Randy Brown in this one. I think the range control and the reach is really going to frustrate Bonfim. And I just think he's the better striker overall, too. He has good takedown defense. The boxing is just super composed. I think he got absolutely screwed over in that Brian Battle decision loss, too. Gabe also just went to decision with old fart Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson, split decision. So I'm going to go with the Rude Boy here. I think he can just take over in the striking, maybe get a knockout.
I like Randy Brown as well. I think there are some concerns about him being a little bit lackluster towards the end of fights, but you have more experience with watching him go to a decision. He's had 9 of those in the UFC. Bonfim only 2. I think why Bonfim's the favorite of this one is his ceiling is kind of a bit untapped. Like nobody really knows what he could become versus what Randy Brown's level is. And to me, that level is higher than what Bonfim's is at right now. I think Randy Brown has a level of consistency that you can rely on. He's going to be a better striker when it comes to power and minute winning in terms of just using his jab and things like that. And I think the takedown defense can hold up against Bonfim as well. So I like the underdog here.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on Randy Brown here. I just like it a lot better. So give me Randy Brown by decision.
Let's go.
Word.
With that said, if you've gotten to this point, you seem to like the content, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, appreciate y'all. Peace.
Peace.